sons to know ourselves. That's how powerful we are. And don't even try to mentally achieve or mentally, what's the word I'm looking for? Win on a mental basis. You can't. You can't. We fight different anyway. We do. But on a mental, here's another part. Here it comes. This is where we have a problem too, because I had a brother tell me, well, you know what it is, see, what it really is, say, is that the real being, the first being was the androgynous one, right? Now when you think androgynous, please do not think of somebody who has a penis and breast and a vagina. That is not what it means by that. However, if that were to manifest in the flesh, they would call it a hermaphrodite, which is really a good. Because what this is, if I'm man and you're son of man, then all you are is a gradient of man. You just don't have those other things. You don't have a whole DNA. That's all. And so then I want to cover and get into, what you call gay. I mean, to me, gay means happy. I don't understand it. Where does that come from? What is known to be normal? Well, you don't know what's normal. You didn't even know, who you are. We don't even know who we are, and yet we talk about what's normal. We let other people tell us what's normal. Every being that is produced from the womb is a gradient of man, period. I cannot produce something that I am not already. My son is nothing but a reflection of my male part that's in me. I'm male and female. And he is a male principle that has always existed, but not necessarily in the flesh. That's why you are called what? The miracle son. You are the miracle son because there's no such thing as a male egg. So that means all you sons out here, all of you, you were a female. That's right. And you were transmutated in the womb into the male specimen of the being. What do you think about that? And you are the miracle son because to this day, they cannot figure out how she took that egg, right? And, which is female, right? And turned it into this male specimen. How'd you do that? So they call it the debate, that's scholarly by the way, supposedly. It's called what came first? The chicken, right? Well, let's think. The chicken that laid the egg is female, and the damn egg is female. There is no debate. They're trying to figure it out too. And they done taught you to try to figure that out too and dishonor your mother. But you know what? Your mother did kind of, interjection, we are the cause of the fall of humanity. Does that make you feel better? I don't know. But it's just the truth. So therefore, no matter how much you want to help, and no matter how much you say, well, y'all did this, and y'all did that, and y'all caused the flood, and all that, well, guess what? You're still at the will, because it's at her will that it will be fixed if it's going to be fixed. Not yours. These are some terrible truths that we deal with, and until we accept them, we won't move forward. No, it's called uplifting fallen humanity. She's fallen humanity. Right? That's what it is. And you're here to assist. Now, like I said, we know how to fight, we fought better, but y'all do a better job with that. So when I say, and I've said this, but I'm going to change this, I'm not going to change it, I'm going to qualify it, as people say. When I say, well, it's a shame, I know how you feel. You feel you're not complete, sons. You feel, then there's some, depending on the gradient of that psychological thing, that feel as though, because they can't create, so they get, bothered by that, and they want to be her. Oh, they definitely want to be her, because they can't create, right? So when you say that, to qualify it, they feel that way. They kind of feel like, we would say, well, you're really dispensable. You were really here to, fight. That's why when you need a breast, instead of no womb. So when you go, it ain't like a hole. Cause see, when a sister's born, a child is born and has enough eggs in the womb to create an entire nation. So you brothers seed, yeah, she got my seed. You need to change this. That's her egg. That's the truth. Because your seed that you call a sperm dies in 3 days. The transmutation of you into a male from a female happens in 17 weeks, somewhere through the first trimester. Ain't got nothing to do with it. The reason the baby looks like you is because she loves you and had you on her mind.
All men start out as female too, but
excuse me?
all men start out as females.
Start out as females. That's what I'm saying. There's a female egg that you came from. You are a female that then was transmutated in the womb somehow. They still can't figure out how. Into this male specimen. I'll say it again. That's why you are the miracle son. Isn't that title good enough for you? Come on. It's noble. It's honorable to be the miracle son. That's why women spoil you. That's why women will take care of you. And you want to treat her like what? She will, because she knows that the only thing in this entire world that can really destroy your self is what? Another woman. That's it. My mother's shaking her head. A test. It's the truth. We will kick our daughters out as soon as they start smelling it. You already know she can take care of herself. She's just like you. But the son? Whatever. Because you know that the only thing that's going to ruin him is another sister. And you trying to protect him from her because you know she will destroy his ass. If she chooses to. And you brothers know it's true too. But getting back to family though, I use that as an example of, getting the daughter out, because when you create, the only thing on the planet is a mother and a son anyway. That's what the whole Masonic orders and, they're about hiding this. Even though, some of the secret societies have orgies, the reason they have orgies is because the sexual energy is what brings forth and creates what you want. So they use that sexual energy to do so, But so a lot of us have been like hiding from the Masonic orders because one thing or the whole concept of it, but the whole concept of it came from you when we were teaching them, and then they took if you into a Masonic order and they have the fez, which is that the fez represents the womb, okay. And 360 strands of knowledge going both ways, 720, physical, as above, so below. That sign is as above, so below. So let me make sure I get you clear on how you as well from the same thing. But so with the Masonic orders, what happened was we taught them, and those were the longhouses. If you go into the so-called Indian or Iqua, which is a Moorish federation of Moors, all of those, and the so-called Indian names are just family names. So the longhouses is where we were teaching them, because we had to civilize them. All right, we had to civilize them, and what they did upon evolving, coming a long way really, is they began the Masonic orders, and if they don't wear their fez in public, because on their fez is a sword. Well, they can't. It's part of the protocol. Yeah, once a year they come out, and I've got pictures of that. And when they do, they have a sword. They have. How many of you are aware that on the fez is a picture of a woman? All right. There's only the Shriner's fez, yes, which is the highest. Not only initiate. See, the initiates that come in, the 33rd and the 3rd degree, because that's all they're gonna get. They test them. Like first they come in and they see if they're able to put down the Bible. when I say put down the Bible, I mean put down the Bible, because that's ancient writings from your ancestors anyway. Then if they're able to put down their belief regarding the Bible and Jesus, because Jesus is justice, period, that's it. Now, if they're able to put down that belief, then they move up. Guess what the next book they get? The Quran. Yep, Thomas Jefferson and all of them had a Quran. All the presidents, did you know? You do know this. They swear in on that Quran, right? The presidents of the corporation, they swear in on that Quran. The one that Thomas Jefferson had personally. Did you know that? Then they tell you what you gonna name your baby Bilal and Hakeem and all that for. When they're behind private glasses on with Hakeem, Bilal, L and Bay on the fans. It's on the site. We showed you the pictures for real. All right? So this is suppression of civilization and the wanting to dominate. And that's the patriarchal mindset. So if I could bring this back to the sons. The only reason a lot of you have a may have, because I know there's exceptions, a patriarchal mindset, which is to suppress the woman, is because that's what was given to you by her, your mother. Because she supports the institutions that actually, are her degradation without even knowing it. How about that? So I want to say, because I don't know how much time I have, but I think I need to get ready to close out.
Go do your thing.
Well, I don't, I want to do this. Oh, wait, let me do this. Just to back up what I just said, and we can move on to, because I have a book called The 7 Principles of Love. Anybody have that book? Oh, you do. Self-help book. It's like a self-help book, right? I'm going to share something with you in there that'll help us raise from one place to another. Oh, and let me just say this one thing. I was on the Know the Ledge radio the other night this week, and who was listening? Front seat too, huh? It was just getting ready to get good, wasn't it? And they cut it off. Boy, they're monitoring the airways now, I tell you. I'm good, I'm glad you're here. Because I just wanted to say something to pick up with that left off. Because it was just getting ready to get deep. That reminds me too of a very important thing that is my proof of the fact that women produce without this sperm entering into her sacred womb. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, I'm just saying it happens. Although I will say this. If there's a sister, be it that she's had sex and then stopped having sex, because women stop having sex with males much quicker, especially as they get older, and they don't have no problem. Matter of fact, they find that their entire kundalini raises, and that their vibration, their energies, their intuitiveness actually is heightened, which is why as soon as you get older, after you've had the children, they call you going through menopause, which means men are paused. You're not making them anymore. And then they say, take this pill and take that pill. Why? Because then she will not reach her highest attainment in the physical world and connected with the spiritual, or even the semi-spiritual. Because she's taking these drugs to take away that energy, that sexual energy that she would be giving out is within there. And it raises her. And she's much more, and she might even have sex with, I don't want to get into sexual preferences, but let's just put it out there. And some women don't have sex, never did have sex with the male, they felt that way. Because the truth of the matter is that we as the mothers of civilization never really had sex with our sons. Now there's another, where's the ching ching, where's the sound at? Because all men do is try to control women's power. Even when they try to do researches on it, it's always some little twist to try to control you and your power. Because they've been under patriarchy, but it's not their fault. It is yours. It is the woman's fault. So anyway, we were saying that the fibroid tumors that are created in women today, of which a lot of women are having a lot more of them, aren't they? Oh, are you one? All right. And they keep coming back, don't they? And they keep doing these operations and trying to remove them, and they just keep coming back. Note that. That's you attempting at self-production of your egg. That fibroid is made of skin, hair, tissue, skeletal, teeth, which is skeletal, right? Yes, it is. I know this for a fact, and you probably know it too. They probably don't even tell you what it's made of. You should ask. It's yours. The next time they try to take one out, ask to see it. Ask them to tell you what's in it, so you yourself can affirm. Because I'm going to tell you what it is you attempting to have your own baby from the eggs that are in you. But what the problem that we have is that we've fallen so far that we're not raised to that point. And also, this is what the brother said when it cut off. He said that he spoke with another person who was speaking. Yes, I don't know, I think he said it was Sister Afua who told him that it was mucus and stuff. And that's where I was saying, well, I'm not speaking for her, but the truth of what I was going to get at is he was trying to say that it wasn't skin, hair, nail. I know that. I have a personal friend who was a gynecologist and had 5, 6 different offices. In private, they're trying to figure out how this is happening. I know for a fact. So I have another sister in Philadelphia who had the same thing with hers, and it stayed in her for years and years and years, and it grew. But it couldn't develop outside of, full grown. Oh, yeah. Is that the case with you? 6 years and it's getting bigger. Okay, all right. Now, what it is your egg trying to self-produce. The mucus that he talked about, seeing this mucus, that is correct. Because it's the mucus that is part of the assisting that's causing it not to develop.
Mucus membranes.
Huh?
Mucus membranes.
Mucus membranes. And the mucus that we build up that causes our diseasements, that's what I mean, from eating wrong. So yes, he was right. But what he was trying to say is, oh no, it's just mucus. It's not skin and hair and bones and stuff. No, it is. It's the mucus that's interrupting it. Plus everything comes from them. That's what I wanted to do. So, getting with that, now this one sister, we got her on there too. She, I think they finally got it out. Or she just lived with it or whatever like that. But as it gets bigger, it's like, and now, I don't want to put you on the spot, but there's another sister and another sister that I know that never had sex and have. So she knows it's not because she was impregnated in that fashion. But again, if we really look at statistics, lots and lots and lots of women are having these fibroid tumors now. Whether they become, thank you, large or small, they are having quite a lot of them. Quite a lot of them. Can you twist that open for me, do you mind?
It's open.
Oh, it's open already. It's happening a lot. It's happening quite a lot. And so now they're doing these testing on women because she doesn't know her own body and what's going on. You know what I mean? There's a science to drink with water. This sister, she does breathology, and she was saying that you have to breathe out while drinking, and I couldn't breathe out while doing this exercise, and I couldn't get there. Or breathe in. Which one was it? And it wasn't until I took some water and drank it, I said, oh, she's right. Because you do breathology, so you know what I'm talking about. Right. She's right, because that's what happens. She also said that, you go to doctors, this is important too for health. And the first thing I have you do is hold it in. Well, guess what? You want to breathe it out. So that's why they say take a deep breath or breathe out when you get excited or whatever like that. If you sit and you actually get rid of toxins. When you go to sleep at night, your body is an incinerator. And it's actually burning the toxins. And through your breathing, that's why when people have snoring and regular breathing, it affects their health. And another thing, circulation is everything. I have an inversion table, and I know, like, I fall asleep sitting at the chair, and I'm telling myself I'm at the computer chair, I'm just gonna do this one thing, and then I'm gonna go get in the bed. And the next thing I know, I wake up right there. with my finger on the computer. That's what I do. Not healthy, because it started bothering my neck because I was falling asleep wrong, you know? But I have an inversion table, so just because I can cheat and get on that inversion table and hang upside down and fix it right away, doesn't mean I should keep abusing that. You know, but thank goodness that I have it, because if I didn't, I think I would not be in the best of health right now.
Right.
It is, yes.
I need one of those. How can we get an inversion table?
Inversion found at sporting goods stores.
Really?
Like Dick's or, you know,
Oh, okay.
those kind of places. Or you might want to go on the internet. Now, the one I have was only 125 mils. But you could get some for, now that everybody's getting them, I'm going to tell you right now, the price is going up. Because what?
I need one that can hold a lot of weight.
Well, yes indeed, yes. And they have some that actually has, I didn't get that one, the one that has, well, actually it was a gift to me. But they have one that has, where it can massage your back. Electrical massage or something like, it's a heat, I think it's heat. You know, but I didn't want to get that because even though you can hang upside down or flat, perfectly right, or in any angle that's comfortable to you, what it actually does, which is what the healing part of it, it takes all the weight off of the spine. And if it takes all the weight off of the spine, because if you have weight on your spine, it presses and each is connected to a body organ. And so when you start having problems with certain body organs, and also your teeth expresses that too, you know that it's because there's something pressing on the spine here, or same with the teeth. So if you get that weight off of it, and then when you come off of it, it's like, it's euphoric. Another orgasm. I said it's euphoric when you come off of the inversion table. It's another orgasm. Here's the deal. For maintenance, this is what makes it so beautiful. For maintenance, you could just get on that thing for 2 minutes a day. You're very good. 2-3 minutes. You don't have to stay on it long. Because you get the weight off, you know, but it depends, of course, you know, if you have issues. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal too. When you first get on it and you turn upside down or in some angle, minimum 45, you'll automatically know where the problems in your body are because you'll start feeling the stress there. You'll start feeling it yourself right in that area. All right? It's good. Yeah. Does it invert backwards to 45 degrees? Oh, you lean over to get the same effect. You might want to get the table. But whatever you do, don't get on it without adjusting the height thing first. Because if you don't adjust the height thing first, you're going to get on there, bam, you're going to go back so fast, boom, you're going to hit, then you're going to say, oh, that doesn't work. Because you didn't think. All right, so now, then I want to give you the secret to relationships as it applies to astrology, which I did a little bit. She said she was water, and I said if she was going to get with the person who was, for instance, fire, which is a non-complementary element, nobody needs to tell you that, that's kind of obvious, then what would happen is this. I'm going to express some people's, oh, no, I don't want to do before I move on to this. Before I move on to that, I want to do something else. Huh? Yeah. I want to do one other thing before I move on to that, so that I can substantiate what I said in reference to women creating and their man's mind. Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to say that, you know, when we say, well, you know, like, well, you're dispensable, it doesn't mean it means you're here for a reason, though. Find your reason and do it, like we all must do. So now, thank you, Sister Celestine, for finding this. This book is a newer one because Brother Azabiel found one, and I had a fit when I saw it because the one I had, Message to the Stars by Max Heindel, all broken apart because I've been in it and all around it, you know, when I first started doing my studies in astrologics. You know, this was one of the books, and it's also good for health. And, you know, it's interesting, let me just say this, it's interesting. I met a sister once, and I didn't know her son because I hadn't seen her in a long time. And she used to work with me when I had a newspaper. I used to have a newspaper, monthly newspaper, community newspaper, and she used to work with me. And then I saw her years later, and she asked me to read her son's chart. Now, I didn't know anything about her son. I just was taking this book and reading and about health parts. And when I read about the configuration of the planets in his chart when he was born, made it such that he was going to have headaches, knockdown, fallout, migraine, may even, you know, fall out unconscious type thing. That was the configuration of. I didn't know that. That's exactly what was happening to him. She knew that that's exactly what was happening to him, but I didn't know. So when I read that part, she was like, but you know what? She was a devout Christian and didn't want to believe it. Ain't that something? Once again, what is Christianity? Krishna, my son and I talk about that. And on a negative level, Cretin. Cretin is a blood disease. You remember you made these Europeans, these Albions down in the laboratory, and they were deformed when you made them. That's why it took so much time to get them to stand upright. You know? And so they had that disease, but from a positive level, when you're dealing with Christian or Christ-like ray, it's not a negative thing if you come from that perspective of knowledge, because Krishna and Cretan ain't the same thing. However, so we just have to do studies and know. So check this out. Man in the making was plant-like and bisexual during the Hyperborean epoch, and thus able to create from himself without the necessity of cooperation with anyone else. At the time, it wasn't physical. No mind, therefore, in the Lemurian epoch, the angels directed one half of the sex force upward to the part which is now the head, and used it for the formation of the brain and the larynx. Now there's a connection here. The process is plainly traceable in the antenatal development of the foetus, which accounts for the intimate relation between the sex organs, the larynx, and the brain. Observable in the change of voice which takes place when a young boy reaches puberty, and the mental disability which follows the unrestrained abuse of the generative functions. Now I'm going to make that connection because the larynx is Taurus, and Taurus is polar reflection of reproductive organs. There's a connection there. Thus it may be said that the sex function whereby new bodies are created in the physical world and became our physical children is closely connected with the brain. Oh, I read that already. Brain and larynx, which man uses to conceive the children of his brain. See, when you're looking at the astrology side, you're looking at the 5th house, which is Leo, which is the house of children and creation, correct? Whatever you create. But what is its polar reflection? Aquarius, which are children too, but it's children of the mind. You see? And so that brings us right back to this thing, is that sex, the union, the production of children, it starts in the mind first. And that when you lay down and have sex with someone and take this powerful union, this powerful energy, and even if you don't get impregnated, guess what? And I know that Brother Azaziel, I think, has information on that too. You are creating an energy or an entity or a spirit or something. You need to know what you're doing. You really do. So the young sisters need to know this, the young daughters need to know this, that every time they lay down, they're creating something and bringing it forth. That's how powerful the sexual union is. Why is it that we don't know that and haven't taught that is what our problem is? Because it has nothing necessarily to do with the physical, I'm going to have sex necessarily with a male counterpart. It's about the creation, the orgasm. Because that's the cosmic pleasure feeling that you get on a brief. Don't you want that all the time? If it's so good. Well, that's what brothers do, but then again, you know, they're limited in how they can deal with this because they don't know how to, they're not intimate. Every woman always talks about the son that isn't intimate enough. Am I right or wrong? I know there's some that may be, and that's good, because there's always exceptions. But look at the women that came to the generations where you can't talk about sex. They used to get married. They could be virgins, you know, really physically virgins. And they had to have sex and they hated it. Look at the movies that you see, well, what was it, Waiting to Exhale, not Waiting to Exhale. Which one? I think it's called Purple. Well, yeah. But it was another one where the sister was, you know, she was all dolled up and had on all her sexy stuff. And he came out of the bathroom with his socks on. And Waiting to Exhale. Thank you, sis. That's a very, if you sisters and brothers, sons, want to know the difference between men and women when it comes to sex, which is an intimate process, look at that. Waiting to Exhale and look at that part right there. That will explain the whole thing to you. And if you can understand that and make changes if necessary, then you got it. But you sons will have to be vulnerable. Can you be vulnerable? That's why you're scared of her. Because she brings it out. And then you feel obligated, unfairly obligated. So you tell lies. Because that's the opposite. When you're feeling unfairly obligated, then what it creates is callousness and lies. You gotta understand that's why you do it. And if you get to that, then you can fix it if you choose to. But just because you like that feeling and you might not figure out how to get it as cosmically, as quickly, and as much as she do, don't go hating and therefore then disrespect her because she might not be ready and wanting and able to do, because you're not able to do what she do, because she can do without you. Always did before and can do again. And so if she chooses now in the sexual preference to be with a woman, another woman, I am not going to make no judgments about anybody's sexual preference. I am not going to do that. But I am that if you do bestiality and anal sex, you are reversing your kundalini. How's that? All right. And then, of course, if a woman makes love to another woman, which is what has always been done anyway, because the universe is a womb, you know what I mean? You know, then they'll say, well, okay, all right, see, sex, then let me tell you the difference between, in my opinion, in my opinion, in my opinion. That's my disclaimer. The difference between a sexual preference, where two women may be together or whatever, and homosexuality in that is this. Sexual preference is sexual preference. But if you were a brother, and you're gonna sit here and put on a dress and a skirt and high heels and stuff like that, you got a little psychological thing going down. You can go ahead. Why you gotta do all that? If that's what you wanna do. Because you don't know how to be intimate. Most of the time, even in that respect. And it's a no-no, and I'm not saying that it's a yes, you know, because the only thing is the reverse kundalini. So, you know, where did that come from? That came from, you know, the Europeans, the Alliance we created, being put into the caves and not having any woman to teach them intimacy, or to have sexual union with them, because they didn't have women, because their women was traipsing up and down the Barbary Coast with the Moorish sons. They had women, so they had to use bestiality and homosexuality in that way, you know, anal penetration or whatever, and sheep and whatever it is they want to do. Because their women weren't there, because you had their women. That's how other nations were created. Do you follow? That's why the daughters created their sons to hate you, because they didn't want to be in that position anymore. That's why they created the marriage license, because they didn't want you to marry into their daughters. That marriage license ain't got nothing to do with you.
That's right.
It's a third-party instrument, and it puts you into slavery on your agreement. Again, what makes it so, I won't say slavery, because you know what, we say slavery. Let's get it straight. The thing is called mental slavery. And so if it's mental slavery, it's independent. It's up to you to release yourself from it. We need to stop talking about this victimage thing about we all in slavery. We need to cut those cords. Because as long as we think that, we'll never get free from it. Because the true slavery is mental. This is why they use that, when they say that Hiram Abiff was hit in the head and buried in a what? Shallow grave. That means you can get up out of the shallow grave. You're not buried 6 feet under and unable to rise. It's with knowledge though. So, back to what I'm saying. The difference between a choice of sexual preference and a brother who's dressing up like a woman and feeling that way, and there's nothing wrong with expressing your femininity, but you know, and then maybe a sister who is looking like a dude, as they would say, you know, right? Right? Those are two. Do not mix the apples with the daggone oranges. Just because a person, if a sister's intimate with a sister, doesn't mean she has to dress up like a man. You're missing something here. The person who dressed up, when I say a man, let me take that back. For the purposes of this lecture, male means the masculine, the son. Female means the womb man. All right? Because man is the woman, the womb man. And you are the product of it. So I want to make that disclaimer. So it becomes, we take everything and we debate it. We just got to take it down to the lowest level. It's like we don't even realize that we're already in the lowest level being on this earth plane. Ada, wake up. We're already in the low place. Like the prayer says, he made me lay down in the green pastures. That's the earth. And though I do walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's the earth. That's you. You're in the valley of death. This form is going to pass away because everything in the physical will perish. We keep forgetting that man is not the body and not the flesh. Well, what does my son say there? Where's he going? Oh. Yeah, what do you say? Man is what? Say it, son.
I didn't say that. That's one of the circumstances.
Oh, yes.
Man is not the body or the flesh. He's a spirit in a part of Allah.
And a part of the all.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that. Why to the other thing here, as if this is it? No, to put the value on it. I think I heard Azariel say earlier, if it's not pleasurable, what's up? You're supposed to be here for pleasure, but the only thing that keeps us from the pleasure is the thought of the loss of the ego, which brings the pain. That's what it is. I'm going to go through that thing. But again, so let's make this distinction. Just because a sister might pick up a screwdriver and a hammer and start doing the work, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that she's necessarily having a sexual relationships with women either. We need to really figure this out. Sexual preferences in partners has nothing to do with the other. If I gotta pick up a hammer and a nail, I'm picking up a hammer and a nail. Don't make me masculine. Although I am a Libra and I am a masculine sign. But what does masculine sign mean? It has nothing necessary. The sun, the body. It means that life is an ebb and a flow. It's a positive and a negative. It's an in and an out. And like a battery, it won't work without it. The electron and proton, it won't work. Alright? So therefore, are you an incoming energy, or, which would be called 3 things now: feminine or positive. Negative. Doesn't mean bad. It means that you're the incoming of the ebb and the flow, right? Or you're the ebb of the ebb and the flow. And then the outgoing signs are considered masculine or positive. Oh, did you really think that means that y'all are positive and women are negative? No. It means that, the in and the out, the ebb and the flow. And in fact, remember who's the ebb and the flow, or who's the positive and the negative, is that all water signs and all earth signs are negative signs, incoming energies. And all fire signs and all air signs are outgoing, or masculine and positive. Got it? Got it? So we're talking fundamentals and elementals. We're not talking, you're a product of that. So now with that, if you wanted to do a relationship chart, go to your chart. Find out how many negatives and positives are in it. This is one of the base relationship charts that you can do in a quick. Find out by the 10 planets that exist, where they were, how many of them you have in your chart that are, so we're talking 10, that are negative energies or in negative lords' houses. What we call the lords are really the astrology signs. Or what we call the astrology signs are really the lords. Me in all that I do. The lords are with me in my travels. There shall be no hindrances and no inquiries in my travels today. That's my invocation. Every time I leave the house. 3 times, right? So the lords, when I say, are all the energies. All of them. So you find out how many negative is in your sign, your chart, how many positive. Let's say you've got 8, like me. I have 8 positive signs. I have 8 masculine signs. But I do think I look quite feminine. That doesn't mean that I gotta look like a male. But I have male energy or masculine energy. But that doesn't mean that I look like a male, and it doesn't mean that I like to have sex with women. Stop mixing apples with oranges and understand what the science is. So, but by me having that outgoing energy, or if you had it or whoever, let's say you have 8 feminine signs. You're an incoming person. All incoming people, all fire signs, all earth signs are going to come into the room. They ain't going to say nothing. They're going to sit down, and you're going to think that they didn't hear you when they didn't miss a thing going on in the entire room. Because they are incoming energies. Do you see what I mean? Yes. Then there's those who are the outgoing. They're the ones that come in and get the party started. Let's get the party started, That's their energy. Don't hate on them because you don't have that energy. It ain't for you. It's for them. Somebody gotta get the party started. Right? That's how it goes. Now we start our failures in relationship by not understanding what I just said in others. We start our failures in relationship but not understand fire and air, earth and water. Earth are complementary to each other because earth will receive the water and not try to change it. Don't you go over there to a fire sign thinking you're going to be sustained, because you're not. Because you can put a pot of water on the stove under fire and in a minute it's gone. So the sister's sitting there next to the mate, and she's the water and he's the fire, and you're all upset because, I don't know, he just came in a room and it bothered you. And then he's saying, well, what did I do? I don't know what I did. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? That's what's happening, because you're water and he's fire. Are you a Cancer? Okay. So then when you get on your, when you've had enough, you don't want a woman to get to the point where she's had enough, because she takes a lot. Then you're going to pour out that water on his fire. So, you can find enough water to pour on his fire. Either way, it just ain't good. So don't ask what's wrong with the relationship. You failed to use the element. That's what happened. And that's the same thing in your sexual unions, because it starts with for women, it absolutely starts in the mind. And the same thing can happen sexually, because it doesn't move far from that. There's more you can embellish with it. Now, the air sign, trying to relate to the water sign, will give you good ideas. But it's like anything, water and air, it comes like a fizzly, isn't it pretty? It's like a little fountain of water, it's bubbling, and shit fizzles out in a minute. Yeah, because air can only come and give you ideas and give vegetation and oxygen to the vegetation that you have underneath, and then that's it. That's all it can do for water. Do you follow? This is very common. It's not even complicated. Most people who have done astrology over the years have always wanted to make it complicated and hold on to it. This is your... It's simple. Thank you, brother. It's not even complicated. And it's so simple, that's why it's called the elements. It's elementary.
Rob, I'm writing a book called Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. That's the book coming out soon.
Numerology is a brief of astrology. We gotta know this. Everything has vibration and numbers and such. So I want to share something. All right, I shared that with you. So because you know, there's other references I could go to, but I liked Max Heindel. So you know, divine law governs all events. So when I got this, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But I want to say this: if I could give a chart, if you could take, as far as the relationships go, if you could take a chart. Understand what we just said. I'm going to write this on a board, and this is all that I really need to express because there are. I just told you there's incoming and outgoing, right? And then there are initiating energies, fixed energies that stabilize. You know, they're fixed. They supervise that energy. And then there's mutating of that same energy to change it out to another direction or somewhere else. Now this is in the seasons as an example. You know, people say, well, what if I'm down across the border and we don't have seasons? Yeah, you do. This is still the format of the movement of life here. Whether you are in Alaska with 6 months of darkness or whatever it may be, this is the foundation of movement of all things, not just the season in your... It's about the movement of all things, the degrees, how it moves. You initiate something by entering into it. Then you immerse yourself into it. That means you're fixed. You're getting all that you can out of it. Then at some point, you change, mutate, and get out of that and move on to the next phase or the next project or the next whatever. Correct? Because you got to come in, you got to get immersed in, and then you got to get out. All right. That's a principle. It's not about whether you've got the season of winter or not in your area. Or as an example. So the astrology wheel was left as a teaching tool for us. We didn't need to go get those daggone Barney and all those Yogi Bear. Your ancestors left you what was necessary because on that wheel, you know, and I didn't bring it, I should have, but and it's all right. We got enough going on. On that wheel, I can show you the wheel. You've seen it with the animals on it. You know, the sheep, the this, the that, like that. Oh, and the inanimate object. Only inanimate object is Libra, the scales. Absolute justice, it doesn't matter. It's the balance. It's not personal, it's not nothing. It's just the balance. Is you is or is you ain't. Because the first 6 is how your mother made you. And then the next 6, which your personal houses, the next 6 is what you look like out in the social, what you put out in the social, which starts at the 7th, which is the social, because now your self is going out to society to meet some other self and to join in with them. How'd your mama make you? Because they always say, didn't your mama teach you nothing? You don't hear saying, didn't your daddy teach you nothing? Didn't your mama teach you nothing? Because she's the first teacher. So now, we've got fire signs, correct? 4 elements. I just, you know, because if you remember 6 signs, you can remember the other 6. The other 6. Aries. I'm going to put this pattern this way. And then I'm going to go, I already wrote it out, so I didn't have to. Leo, and then Sagittarius, right? Now those are the 3 fire signs, correct? This one is initiating, Aries, right? Right? Or cardinal, as they call it, to start something, correct? And then this fire sign is fixed, correct? You can you? Oh, well, gee, thanks. Yeah, boy, we're gonna get some energy flowing. Can you
Pretend like you're doing it.
No. You know, see, this is why they said don't you talk about sex. But the real reason is because, you know, they wanted to suppress it, and mothers who didn't know what to say. Like, what do you say? You know what I tell people when they have sons, right? I said, well, just teach your son. Just teach your son to take care of everybody he loves, and he will be a man. That's all. You know what I mean? That's all you can do. Be gentle to women, and he would be far. But then there's some men that are gentle and women abuse them. Because they got issues too. We got issues. In fact, it's the one that gets abused. That's the one she, you know what I mean? And then he's got emotional trauma already, and then you gotta meet him. And then he's on that thing which I'm gonna show after I do this, which is he's on the past, and the past hurts, unable to be loving, caring, and intimate. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah. All right. So now. Fire sign, all right? There's only 3, Aries, Leo, Taurus. One is initiating or cardinal, getting stuff started. One is fixed, or what you would call stubborn, unable to move. Except the other is mutable, which is Sagittarius, when they change, they change. Like that. Okay, I'm doing this because this is the pattern. For the fire signs, I'm going to do the compatibility or the complement. The air signs to this would be the Libra. And then you'll be able to see how your sex life will be. And then we have Aquarius. Look at that. Is Aquarius the fixed air? Libra is the initiating air. Just like Aries is the initiating fire. Yeah, I'll give you a pattern here. And then after that we have Gemini.
Yeah.
Hey, for the Geminis. Now check this out. Before I do the other two, look at that. Aries, polar reflection is Libra. Leo's polar reflection is Aquarius. And Sagittarius' polar reflection is Gemini. There's a pattern. So let's do the other one. Water, okay. So the initiating, yeah, I did this. The initiating water sign is what? Cancer.
Pisces and
Oh gosh, you better give them their attention. Oh my gosh. They need attention, baby. Whatever they do, you better pat them on the back and do something. Lots of attention. You know what's so interesting? They're loving, nurturing, the house of mother, but they got to have a lot of attention. They have got to get that attention, I'm telling you. So now we have Scorpio, which is the fixed water. Are you seeing the pattern? All right. And then you have Pisces, which is the mutable water, correct? And then we have, last but not least, the earth. The earth. And you'll see what? I bet y'all can feel this out now because you can see the pattern. If I say that Aries is the reflection of Libra, then what's the reflection of Cancer? Capricorn. All right, it's Capricorn and initiating. Cardinal? Yes. Cardinal and initiate is the same thing. It means it begins something. It comes into, it begins the season, or it gets done. So then you have Capricorn. But you know what? You can look right away and see the relationship between the Capricorn and the Cancer. The Cancer needs attention, and Capricorn got to be in control. What do you think is happening in the sex life? Okay. So now, Scorpio and what? Taurus? Okay. Oh, this is where I want to talk about the Adam's apple. But look at this. Here's the Taurus's glyph. That is the glyph of the. Because when the sexual reproduction start coming in, and it mentioned it in the book there, when it starts coming in, because sons don't have mammary glands, you know, that's also why they have a lot of hair in their chest too, because they need to enhance their that chakra point. But because they don't have mammary glands, what happens is the Adam's apple is formed, whereas we have other ways to excrete toxins. So when you know, like I said, look at that boy, he got a deep voice now, and he got an Adam's apple. That means his reproductive organs are ready too. He got hair down there and everything. All right, so that's the sign. For us, you know, we get breasts.
Right.
For them, they get an Adam's apple, connected to the reproductive system. And so then we have Virgos, which is the opposite of Pisces. Nice little the chart, right? You can find out so much with that. Because first of all, if you want to deal with fire and fire, I mean, you know, come on. You want some fiery relationships, sexual relationships? Look, you got the initiating and the supervising. All the supervising energies, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, they're going to supervise things. They might not want to, Taurus ain't going to change nothing, no. No. Whereas his polar reflection, Scorpio, which is water, which is fixed, they're a natural resurrector. You get a Scorpio, you have some serious sexual stuff going down. The reason is because all things are possible when they think of all the possibilities. They have to resurrect that which is dead. I mean, that's, people say, I mean, just not just sexually, but if people say that something cannot happen, it's a dead cause, get a scorpion on it. Then there's cause no more. Am I right?
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes.
Now, why is the Scorpion's relationship with a Virgo so cool? Because this is changing Earth, and that's fixed Earth. I mean, changing Earth, and that's fixed water. Because first of all, I did this chart so you can see the water and Earth is absolutely going to be compatible with each other in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So, you know, whether it's initiating, fixed, or mutable, you know, they're complementary from the door. So the Scorpion and the Virgo go well together because why? Because the Virgo is the analyzer that thinks of all that are possible to occur. They are natural analyzers, but they're very prudent though. But they're natural analyzers. They'll miss the bus still figuring out the possibilities.
Never lie.
That's true.
Missed the bus.
Are you Virgo? See that?
You missed the bus.
I'm trying to break it down.
That's the energy of a Virgo. So of course, if the Scorpion is the natural resurrector, he needs to have more information for the possibilities of how he can fix things. So Scorpios and Virgo have a natural relationship in that respect. And it doesn't have to be necessarily sexual, but that's just the way it goes. All right? And then, so now, well, did I do them all? Okay, I did do them all. So this repeats itself. Initiating, fixed, mutable across the board. And then you can see who's going to be in control, the supervisor. You know, I like that. And then, you know, as we go through, let's see, the Aries and the Libra. Okay, these are masculine, outgoing energies here, air and fire, right? But the Libra likes to please others. Because remember, the polarity between the Aries, who's about self, and the Libra, who's about others, it already exists. And this is why, now this is interesting. This is why the downfall of the Libra, which is Venus, could be Mars. Because of his forceful energy, you know, their relationship is not corrected. A person who has a chart that has Mars in that love area, you know, will always succumb, or if it's a Venus, a Libra, Aries thing, they'll always be, you know, it can cause you to just do some things, sister, that you didn't really want to do, maybe, or that you wish you hadn't done, or you find yourself, how the hell did I get in that relationship? Stories. How did I get in? And you know, and it's all because we really were trying to satisfy him. Turn the table. He's supposed to be satisfying you. That's why it don't work. All right. So now, so then you look at the way this chart is written. It gives you the polarities, the fire and air, of course, or gives you the fire and air as a complement. You know, and let's get again clear on opposites. We don't like using the word opposite. It's a polar reflection. Here's what it really is. Whatever the energy is, your polar reflection that some people call opposite is the exact same energy on the other end of the stick. And the reason why the polarities are really best laid for each other is because it is the same energy, and if you knew how to meet in the middle and the balance, it would be perfect. But most of us, and when I say to someone, you know, your polarity is whatever your polarity, like what's yours? Because you're Cancer. Most people that I've run into have said, ew, I've never been attracted to them. Is that what you would say? Okay, well then you're more conscious of things. But most do. And if you should find that that is you, that is because you don't like looking at yourself.